I think working with Coach Rowe and our assistant coaches, we've got a really good plan put together. Now we've got to go execute it, and we will here the next 7 weeks, and getting ready, for the fast approaching August 30th kickoff at 12 o'clock in Ross-Ade Stadium. How excited we are for that. I'm excited about the chance to put this team together, build on what we did from January until spring ball was over, and then the new pieces we added after spring practice, and now putting that group together to get ready for fall camp. One of the most enjoyable parts of the year for me, as you work to blend the new and the old together and come up with what this team's going to look like in 2025.
How do you plan on just getting all these guys to mesh together and getting a cohesive team?
Yeah, it's I think your math, I think you're about right on. Um, I knew that it would be a complete, at some positions, roster change and overhaul. Um, Not new to the fact of what that is. We had 55 my first year, the last place, then we had 50 the next year. You look at the national trend of what that is. I can't compare us to anyone else. Just know what we needed to do to put together a team for 2025. And, we were very deliberate about that. I mentioned towards the end of spring practice that we would be very active in the next spring window, and we were. And I think, our coaching staff did a nice job of identifying players that thought that could come here and help us win, that fit what we were looking for. And, I think it's so important that we understand we signed a lot of high school guys in this year's class too. And next year's high school class, the 26th class, is going to be a lot bigger than this year's high school class. So I believe in the foundational approach that looks like. You'd like to get to the point where that number is not near as high. But then also, if you recruit a bunch of guys through the portal that you've got for 8 months, well, you're going to replace them with somebody after 8 months. So there's going to be a little bit of a cycle there on what that looks like, as far as the total number. And then how do you build a team together? How do you take those 24 post-spring signees, blend them with the new guys, plus the high school guys, plus the returners? There's no book on that. It's about every single day, your actions, the leadership, the embracing of the new, blending them together, finding a way, spending time together, and then ultimately understanding that we represent something so much bigger than ourselves, any individual in Purdue football, and finding a way, by the time that we kick off on August 30th, that we are as close of a team as you could possibly be.
But you have 55 new guys. A lot of coaches say we don't have time to coach effort, but the world's changed. Obviously, it's changed for coaches in terms of just having all these new bodies. You've done this for the last several years. You're used to it. But what's your philosophy on that? And how do you tell your staff from a coaching effort standpoint? And you just say, "Hey, we're not going to do that. That's expected," or is that something you say to the team from the front, from the get-go? How do you view that?
That's one of the core beliefs in our team bottom line. It's knowing your assignments, it's playing with energy and enthusiasm, playing tough and physical, and being a 6-second competitor. And if you do those 4 things, you're setting yourself up for success. Okay. If a guy won't play hard, he's not going to be on the field. That is a non-negotiable to me. Okay. If a guy's not playing, why is he not playing hard? Okay. Does he not know his assignment? Or is there, where is the breakdown? I won't stand for, we're not going to have guys that don't give tremendous effort and speed to the ball. And how do you play when you don't have the ball in your hands? The strain to finish from the time the ball snapped until the whistle blows. I've got a challenge to our team. Let's put on tape that we're the hardest playing football team in college football. And when you do that, that erases a lot of deficiencies. Do we have a long ways to go in that department? Absolutely. Will we get there? You daggum right, we will.
Got time for a couple more. Sam, go ahead.
Barry, I apologize. This isn't about anything with the transfers or incoming recruits, but it's about Devin Mockabee and the value that a guy who came as a walk-on has been kind of the face of the program. When you're shifting over to a new staff and you want to get people excited, he's going to be the guy on the posters and things like that. How much value is there in a Devin Mockabee, just a guy that fans can relate to, that they want to go see, and he's personable and seems to be a very down-to-earth, genuine type guy that people can just kind of relate to?
Yeah, I'm thankful for him, along with a number of other guys that chose to stay, and they something in their heart or soul made them stay with us. And I will forever, as long as I've got an opportunity to be in coaching or afterwards, I'll look at, and those guys will be circled in my mind on giving me an opportunity to be their coach. So it means a lot to me that he decided to stay in. And I know certainly he had opportunities to go a lot of different places, and he decided to stay here. That means a lot to me. We can win with guys like Mockabee, and we can win with guys like Ethan Trent. We can win with Tanonas. We can win with those guys because of what they care, their passion. They care about this place. Their work ethic is off the charts. They set the example in a lot of ways when there wasn't an example, and that holds great value in my mind and our coaching staff's philosophy on how we've built this thing.
Tom, go ahead.
Coach, I guess for lack of a better term, were you pleased with the resources that you had available to build this portal roster? Can Purdue continue to be competitive in the future? And what do you have any idea what the future is for the Boilermaker Alliance, the NIL collective that's separate from the university, and maybe what its role is going to be moving forward?
Ecstatic would be a descriptive word on how I felt about what Mike Babinski talked to me about in the interview process, and what proved to be true. It was exactly what he told me it was going to be, and it was very aggressive. Purdue is not going to take a backseat to anyone when it comes to that in the revenue share with the peers in our conference. And if you look at the Big Ten, is setting the standard in college football on what that looks like, and we're going to be as competitive as anyone in that department.
Hey, Barry, we haven't had a chance to talk to you yet since Ryan Brown came back. I was just curious from your perspective, how did that all play out, and why did you guys want to add him to this still very, I guess, up in the air quarterback situation?
Yeah, you look at number one, when I got the job in December, I had that first team meeting. There weren't many guys in the room as a team. There were guys in the portal that already had indicated that they were leaving. Some had already left and or had gone and decided where they were going. I had an opportunity to have a conversation with Ryan, and he was already really out the door. But I think I at least gave him something to think about program direction, structure, coaching staff. Even though we didn't have a coordinator or quarterbacks coach hired at that time, I talked about philosophy wise, and I could tell he was torn a little bit in that decision. You'd have to ask him, exactly what he was feeling on that. But I wished him the best. I said I didn't want to lose him. And I said, if things don't work out or you have a change of mind or heart, it's your new place, then we'll be here. And I tried to do that with all the guys that I had a chance to talk with that were already, quote unquote, out the door when I got the job. I think he had a really good spring at the place he transferred to. I think there's a number of things about being a student athlete at Purdue University that are exciting for a number of guys and college kids in general. Once we learned that he had entered the portal, there was a conversation about the same things I talked to him about in December, that there would be opportunity to compete. He had some clarity, obviously, then or now on who our coordinator was, who our, position coach was. I think the conversation piece on the people he still knew on the roster played in our favor on the structure of the program, on the way it was going. And then for us, a decision to make. I do feel like coming out of spring ball, if we were to go play, I like the development of the rooms, certainly on the position we left spring practice out. I also believe in the world of playing the way we're going to on offense. You better have 2 to 3 that you feel like you can win with. And when we knew that Ryan was interested in looking at another opportunity, I had seen enough tape on him from the last year. I really liked his genuine makeup of when I had the one conversation with him before he left. So we started recruiting him actively at that point and tried to get him into our program.